Today is Tuesday, February 26, 2019, and tomorrow, Wednesday, the 27th, there's going to be two pieces of gun control legislation. They're going to be voted in the United States House of Representatives. So, I'm just calling you guys right now to call your congressman or woman, call them and tell them you do not support universal background checks, and you do not support them extending the period of time that they have to complete the background checks. So there's two bills, H.R. 8, which is basically the, quote, universal background check bill. And what that's going to do is it's going to require a background check for face-to-face transfers, which are very common in this country. Law-abiding citizens that intend no harm on anybody have been doing these since the beginning of time. And there's nothing wrong with transferring property to another person who's responsible and legal to own that property. And as soon as they tell you that they're trying to keep the guns out of the hands of criminals, don't buy it for 1 minute. Criminals don't do background checks. They skip that process, and we all know that. And there's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop criminals from getting guns, as we already know. And don't forget what their end game is. This isn't about the background check. It's about registration. Because there's no way that they can fulfill these universal background checks the way they want to without having a registry. And if you look back at history, which is often the best predictor of the future, every time there's a registry and registration of guns, it ultimately leads in confiscation. Don't believe me? Look what's going on in California right now. People making clerical mistakes, slight technicality mistakes, having people with guns come to their homes to confiscate their duly purchased and properly owned property. So we have H.R. 8. Call your representative. Tell them you oppose. We also have another bill called H.R. 1112. And what that has to do with is right now, if they're doing a background check through the NICS system and they need to do what's called further research, they have 3 days to complete that research. And if they don't, the gun shop owner, at his discretion, can still sell the gun to the purchaser. Now, they're going to extend it to 10 business days. There's been other channels that have done a good job explaining this, so I won't get into too many details, but let's just say this. 10 business days with holidays and weekends can lead to a full month in certain instances where there's holidays. After a month, your next background check expires. So this could lead to de facto gun bans just by, legislative and bureaucratic BS, where they say we need further research. They don't have to tell you why they need further research. They don't have to justify it. They can just say further research, do it 2 times, your month is over, have to come back, start over again. And it could lead somebody where they're in a loop where it could take them months, if not keep them banned from buying that gun into perpetuity in theory. So, and here's another reason why I want you guys to call. Yes, the House is majority Democrats. They're probably going to vote on party lines this time, and it's going to get through the House. But here's why you need to call. There's this organization called Pew Research that does these surveys. And what I've been noticing lately, they've been touting this Pew Research poll that was put out last October, and it states that 91% of Democrats support universal background checks. Well, no big surprise there. Here's the scary part. This same Pew Research poll that all the politicians are going by, this is what they're all saying is the will of the people, right? Says that 79% of Republicans support universal background checks. I know it's not true. It can't be true. So we need to call them. So, yes, we need to call them to try to get them to not vote this through the House. But even if you've given up hope on that, secondarily, it's just as important to call them just to let them know, I'm a Republican. I do not support universal background checks. And if you're a Democrat, even better, because I suspect, now that I think about it, not even 91% of Democrats support that. There's a lot of pro-gun Democrats out there, and I think there's more than 9% that would oppose this. So if you're a Democrat or a Republican, call them and tell them, no, this Pew Research is wrong. 79% of Republicans do not support universal background checks, and I will not support you, and I will do everything I can to make sure you are not elected next time if you support universal background checks. So just calling you guys, call them today, call them tomorrow morning. We don't have a lot of time yet. They're voting tomorrow, which is February 27th, 2019. And tell them Pew Research is wrong. We're the ones that vote. These pollsters, they do not vote. We vote for you. We hold you accountable. We will make sure you do not get reelected if you pass this BS. And be as polite as possible, but be frank with them and let them know. Not on my watch. You will not work for me if you're going to pass universal background checks. So call your reps. No on H.R. 8. No on H.R. 112. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.